Hey everyone, it is a wonderful morning here on Randomania, and I'm here with Will Cleosis, and we have a Swiss bracket announcement stream and then an exhibition match that suggests that both runners are masochists. I'm Woat, and as I said, we've got with me.
Good morning, everyone. Will Cleosis here joining Woat. I couldn't let him fly solo this time, and when I got home from work, about an hour ago, I saw that Woat needed a tag team partner this morning here on Randomania, and I couldn't wait to jump into the ring with him.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on hand, Will, if only because you bring so much fire to these announcement streams.
Thanks, Wout. It's an absolute pleasure to work with Wout. We worked previously a couple weeks ago, actually. We just haven't had the chance because we've been doing so many other things. I've been playing, and you've been doing commentating solo sometimes. So it's really an honor, to certainly join Randomania here. Nora, a melee wizard, he's going to be helping us keep the tracking. We're going to have an exhibition race coming up really quick. But first, it's time to reveal the pairings for round 4 of the Swiss Round 2018 Final Fantasy Randomizer Spring Tournament.
Oh boy, this is going to be an amazing round 4, let me tell you. We should just start at the top because the first set of matches is going to be the really interesting ones in my opinion, because that's the 2-in-1 section of the bracket, aka the Crystal Fight Club, I believe is what folks are referring to it as these days.
The Crystal Fight Club. I've been looking at the 2-in-1 area as a Shark Tank. Normally you would think that that's the 3-0 group. I mean, if you look at it on paper, if you think about it, it makes sense. In my opinion, it's the 2-in-1 group because the people that emerged in the 2-in-1 group, they're going places, Wout. I really think they are, and I think they're going to do a lot of damage later in this tournament. I think it's that 2-in-1 group.
No, it's one of those things, if you survive like this 2-in-1 group, then at the very least, you've got the chops to get that fourth win to secure your spot, or at least be able to claw your way out of the play-in race.
That's right. Well, out of the 2-in-1 group, that's what we're going to start with on our bracket, or excuse me, on our Swiss match reveal. If you get your third win, you're essentially locking up at least a spot in a sort of play-in race to get to the bracket stage. So that all important, that's kind of the first hump that you want to get over and get to that third win. Once you get there, then you look to certainly progress forward and see how far you can make it in this tournament.
Absolutely. So I guess we should just go ahead and start talking about these matchups. So kind of at the upper left, we've got Sforzando and Tyrannex. Tyrannex is actually going to be one of our exhibition racers here in a little bit, and judging by the flags he and Pugel picked out, he does not shy away from a challenge, and he does have one in Sforzando.
Tyrannex absolutely does not shy away from a challenge, not one bit. No, Dragon Warrior player. Tyrannex very good at this game. Tyrannex was in the first tournament last year for Final Fantasy Randomizer. He's back. He's at 2-in-1. Sforzando, tough match this last week. Top tier player is Sforzando. I definitely did not want to see his name pop up in the 2-in-1 area. And Sforzando, I mean, his finishes in the league, and he's really on a tear. I'm really looking forward to that matchup, Wout.
Oh yeah, no, it is going to be a blast. Both of these guys, no stranger to using whatever they need to get to the end of a matchup. Speaking, though, of runners who are not ashamed to use whatever tools they have at hand, we do have Split Punched and the Hangry Canuck squaring off as well in the 2-in-1. This is another match I'm looking forward to seeing. Canuck is one of those runners who always has, something to... Let me start that sentence over. Canuck is one of those runners who always has the ability to just sort of plow through seeds in ways you don't really see coming.
Yeah, Hank Canuck, he plays so smoothly, and he's unpredictable. I almost want to say erratic, but if you watch me play, that's called being erratic. And it's nothing negative using the term erratic. It's just, you just don't see it coming. And it just progresses through, and he's at 2-in-1. Now he's taken on a veteran in Split Punch who can really play this game. I've never seen anyone with the knowledge and the numbers and someone who not only has that knowledge in numbers, but can execute so well. And that is Split Punch, and that is his game.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, both of these runners, like, the fact that they use unconventional strategies, first of all, makes them difficult opponents to prepare for, I imagine, but also means that that whatever they do, it's going to be an entertaining race, just because they're going to pull out strategies that you don't see coming.
Correct. Another battle of 2-1s. High Spirits versus Lord Fizzlebeef. Lord Fizzlebeef has had one heck of a tournament so far. Close finishes, come from behinds. He was ahead and still came from behind after being ahead. Very impressive. High Spirits coming out of the Dragon Warrior champion, coming out of that community. Already 2-1 here in Final Fantasy Randomizer. Someone to watch out for, Walt.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Lord Fizzlebeef is one of those runners. I don't think I've actually had the pleasure of watching any of his races yet, but it is definitely one of those things no one is thrilled to see they've got a Lord Fizzlebeef matchup. And High Spirits, I mean, you already said pretty much everything. He is an incredibly skilled runner in a lot of domains, has a lot of knowledge in Final Fantasy Randomizer, and he is going to give Lord Fizzlebeef everything he wants. That's going to be a close match, I reckon.
Mm-hmm. I did a little bit of studying on High Spirits in preparation because I've never played him before, and I hadn't had really a chance to watch any of his matches or call any of his matches. Other than Tristal MTG, obviously just an incredible player. We all know Tristal's story, champion, co-champion. High Spirits can menu like no other. Absolutely unbelievable the speed that he can do and play. He can just play this game. He can play video games. Guy's really good.
Yeah, and I was going to say, that's got to be the Dragon Warrior experience coming into play there.
Another battle of 2-1s. Papa Foys versus Bratster. These guys have been around for a while, Wout, and I think this is a knockdown drag-out. They're going to go at it, and I can't wait to see this one either.
Yeah, well, both of them have had to go through some difficult opponents. Papa Foys drew Minochi last week, which no one wants to draw Minochi, except maybe you. And let's see, I think before that he had me out. Bratster had that 5-second race against Arson Horse a couple of weeks ago, and now Arson Horse, one of those runners that you just have to watch out for. And Arson Horse, of course, having to take on Salty Fry last week, and we'll get to him here in a little bit, but it is one of those things where, yeah, both of these runners, they have a tremendous amount of experience with this game, a tremendous amount of knowledge of what to do. You know, both of them go after some pretty difficult seeds casually. They're going to put on another exciting performance. Like I said, this 2-1 bracket is a group of death. You know, you get through this, you know you have the chops to make it in the bracket phase.
That's right, and I think that match right there, Bratster and Papa Foys, starts with party selection. Does Papa Foys continue his selection of the 2-fighter moving into the potential 2-knight scenario that served him well? He's gotten this far with it. Does he continue? Does he want to adjust against a player like Bratster? We're going to find out.
Oh, he's not going to adjust. He's going to go with 2 fighters. That's what he does.
Have you ever had a conversation with Papa Foys? Well,
I've had a couple with him, but it's one of those things. I've seen enough of him to just assume the 2 fighters are happening unless what he rolls is just so against 2 fighters that it's silly.
Another battle of 2-1s. Fuzzy Mage out of nowhere. Falconic out of nowhere. I call Falconic the upstart, and I'm getting ready to. After I watched and called the Fuzzy Mage match, I'm starting to call him the underdog here. And I bet you he absolutely loves that, and I think that he is the epitome of it, Walt.
Oh, absolutely. I called his round 1 matchup, or it might have been his round 2 matchup. The first matchup where he demonstrated his disdain for the Vorpal Sword. Yeah, this whole thing that people who keep up with the kind of community element of the Randomizer League and tournament, where the Vorpal Sword has kind of become the new Tyro in the community. Fuzzy Mage is the reason that all started up. He found the Vorpal Sword, pulled it out of a chest, and immediately discarded it. I think he still needed an endgame sword and just threw it out. And it's one of those things. Fuzzy Mage has definitely already left a mark, but he and Falconic are two, as you said, two relatively new runners who are both who've come a long way in a very, very short time.
To be at 2-1 in this sea of nearly 50 players, remarkable for a newer player to adjust, to put in the time, and just shows really good gameplay. Also, by the way, Fuzzy Mage won his second match with the Vorpal, so maybe he's maneuvering around a little bit. Didn't like it before, used it to go to 2-1. Maybe he's opening up, and that could give him a good shot here in later on in this tournament. Speaking of 2-1s, Tristal MTG, former champion, runner-up to High Spirits in the Dragon Warrior just a few weeks ago, takes on Edge Figaro. I think this is, from what I've seen so far, this is probably the best match that I want to watch. Two great video game players, menuing, decision-making, routing, you name it. These guys exemplify that. Tristal MTG is in the top 5. He was number 1 for quite a long time in SRL points for Final Fantasy Randomizer. Edge Figaro, I think he's number 2, number 3. And while that's on paper, these guys can play ball, Wout.
Oh, absolutely. That is going to be, to borrow the term from another commentator who I'm fairly fond of, a clash of the titans.
This is going to be a knockdown drag out. Tristal MTG coming off, a match that he had recently, which put him in the 2-1 bracket. I know he wants it. He's got to be like, wow, okay, I'm going to step up my game here and be even more dangerous than he already is, Wout. And Edge Figaro, I guarantee he wants this too. So I think we're going to have 2 players that want this. I'm looking for risk-taking here. And, we're going to see what happens, Wout.
One of these guys is going to wind up in Marsh Cave. Or is that what you're trying to say?
I don't. The Marsh Cave might be a bit of a stretch, but maybe some different type of, maybe a different maneuver. I'm not quite sure yet, but I can't wait to see it. I hope it comes on soon, and maybe I even have the honor to call this match. It would be a pleasure.
So, speaking of unconventional maneuvers, next up we have Will Cleosis versus Edgeworth, and I believe that Will here had a very unhappy reaction when he found out he actually had drawn Edgeworth. Now, Will, you have been on what I like to call a rampage through a lot of the old hands. You gained a reputation as a Dragon Slayer after you upset Tristal and made him have that little 1 after the 2. And you also had a pretty intense match against Maya. And you drew Zardia first week, didn't you?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. You drawing Edgeworth, that's just how this tournament has been going for you.
Yeah, it just fits. It's just great, Wout. I love it. And I got to tell you this. Had we had on Challenge you could select a winner of the tournament, unfortunately we didn't have that options, I would have clicked on Edgeworth immediately. Going through and playing Tristal and playing Zar and then playing Ishbin Maya, now getting Edgeworth, I just don't know where it stops. But there's been a lot that has been said about Wicleosis. He got lucky here. Oh, he played well here. The F word has been used. Fluke has been used. Believe me, I've heard it all. I think that this is even Will's biggest test so far, and if he can pull this off, maybe then he really does arrive. However, I would certainly think you called Wicleosis an upset over Tristal, no question. There's no doubt about that. But if he can pull something off against Edgeworth, he might have a few ideas, I can tell you that, then maybe he arrives. Otherwise, he's still a pretty big dog to Edgeworth.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things. I doubt Edgeworth is looking at this match and going, well, this is an easy win. And I doubt Will Cleosis is looking at this match and going, well, this is an easy win, mostly because we just heard you say, well, this is not going to be an easy matchup.
No, not whatsoever. I'm looking forward to it. Edgeworth is an incredible player, and, we'll see what happens. We'll see what tricks I can pull out.
Yeah. So this next matchup, though, is another one that I think people, if they're not excited for it, need to be excited for it. Arson Horse J. Coper. Like I was saying earlier, Arson Horse is one of those runners that, again, kind of has shown what he's made of in this tournament. And Jay Coper, if anyone who keeps up with randomizers in general knows who Jay Coper is.
Correct. Great video game player, participates in Entrance Shuffle, participates in so many other randomizers, but not only participates, Wout, he has success. I mean, There's no denying that. Whereas I call Falconic the upstart and Fuzzy Mage the underdog, Arson Horse is the dark horse, and he's continually elevating his dark horse status. He takes out Jay Coper and moves up for another win. I mean, he's that close to being 3-0. Arson Horse is in a prime position to get into these brackets and do some damage.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those things, you watch Arson Horse run, he has a veteran knowledge of how this game goes, where he needs to be going, how he needs to route. He is definitely not someone you can sleep on, and he's not going to sleep on Jay Coper, I can tell you that. So I expect this is going to be another one of those matches that's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be, both runners on the bottom floors of Temple of Fiends, if not facing chaos at the same time. And you can just take that to the bank.
I believe so as well, and that's a money order. That's guaranteed. That's no check on that one. Speaking of down to the wire, Demon Frog and Demarine. Demarine was matched up against Trystal earlier in the Swiss tournament, whereas the record was set for a time. Pretty tough to beat that. She takes out Zardia in 3 seconds in a match essentially for the ages. I've watched that match 3 times, trying to study Demarine in case I got her in this match. 3 times I watched that, and each and every time I got more impressed and more impressed. And speaking of being impressed, who saw Demon Frog coming? Because I know I didn't. I haven't had a chance to study Demon Frog that much, and I'm glad I'm not matched up against him because I haven't had a chance to study him. This one's one to watch here. I see a really nice, tight, clean, close race here that could come down to the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Demon Frog is in that same crop, I believe, as Fuzzy Mage, Falconic, and I think Arson Horse as well. Folks who kind of showed up when the tournament was announced and have already left a big impression in the community. I think, though, this is the first matchup Demarine has drawn where she is not facing off against an older hand. Demarine coming to us from the Final Fantasy IV community. I've had the pleasure of commentating with her a couple of times. She is a runner who has picked up this game in a hurry, and it shows. As you said, she's knocked Zar down to at least to a loss. She is definitely someone who, she's probably going to wind up making it into the bracket phase. I'll be surprised if she doesn't. And when she does, she'll be ready.
When I saw that original match with Trystal for Demarine, and actually Demarine, if you're out there, she certainly observed me observing her. And when the match with Zardia came up in the 3-second finish and the smooth match that it was, I think it exposed Demarine a little bit too. Girl can play this game right there. Really looking forward to it. And you said it yourself. I think she's going to make it to the brackets. I think she's primed for it. And I definitely do some damage. Shalazia and Quicklet. In my opinion, Shalazia by far the most dangerous 1 and 2 player. Shalazia can run this table, get in that bracket, and cause absolute havoc, Wout.
Oh, absolutely. And, Quicklet has been through the ringer. I believe he was in that match with Lynn the Cat week 1 that...
I'm still laughing about that one. Sorry.
Well, I think Lynn still, wakes up in the middle of the night kind of just breathing heavily and trying to remind himself that he got through that waterfall cave. Oh. And Quicklet was the other side of that matchup.
If anyone has not seen that race, round 1, it was at 7 a.m. Eastern time. I got the fortune to call that match with Quicklet and Len the Cat. It's so entertaining, and to get through that, certainly take up the victory. Very impressive. Don't sleep on these two. I think the winner of this 1 and 2 match, they're both just very, very dangerous. Both of them. Not only Shalazia, but Quicklet is, and they can get forward.
And it is one of the things we do need to emphasize. These 1 and 2 matchups that we're starting on now, they are effectively elimination matches. You need to have at least 3 wins to have a shot at advancing to the bracket phase. And, these runners are right on the edge of getting that shot at the play-in.
Right.
So,
effectively, they are. You never know, though. Someone could disappear. Real life does happen. Someone who's ahead of them and someone with 2 wins could somehow get into that plan. We're not sure exactly what could happen in the future. So certainly all these matter, but it is effectively, an elimination area.
Yeah, this is a match. These are matches you need to win if you want to keep your tournament hopes above life support. But go on.
Zarbi and Bismarck. This one's just going to be fun for me. 2 players that have played this game for quite a long time. Both looking to catch back up. Again, same situation as before. Both players need a win. They both really do. I think they both want it, and I can't wait to see this one.
I mean, the real question here is, does the winner get to keep the 89?
I don't know, because, had I been matched up with Minochi 85, I was going to knock that 85 right off of his username, Wout. And he knows that, too, so he ran away scared. He gets to play someone else. We'll get to that in just a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I guess it depends on if they have a gentleman's agreement or not.
Yeah, but it is definitely one of those things. These two, again, it's a story that we're going to hear a lot, especially now we're in round 4. They have a lot of experience under their belt. They know this game, and it's going to come down to, what decisions they make that their opponent doesn't make, what kinds of, tricks they can pull out of their hat.
Rumblefish is formerly known as White Mage as a guy. Notched first victory. Moved to 1-2, defeating Trenton GL. Plays Mayat. Now, a lot of people consider Mayat the most dangerous 1-2. Mayat can play this game, no question whatsoever. White Mage as a guy plays this game a ton. Again, newer to the community. Is it old school versus new school? I'm not exactly sure on this one, but interesting matchup. I don't know what to think about this one.
It's one of those things with Rumblefish. You cannot just kind of coast to the end. Rumblefish does not give up, and he has improved a ton just over the last couple of weeks. He started this tournament off with a match that took 3.5 hours for him to finish, and I believe he's now sub-2ing. And it's one of those things, if your seed takes a turn for the worse and you're up against Rumblefish, you're going to have to see it through.
You're going to have to beat him.
He's going to see it through. He's not going to hand you that forfeit.
White Mage is a guy, Rumblefish is not going to lay down. You have to beat him. And sometimes those people can be the most dangerous in any tournament or gaming situation. The Joker MB and Tilo. Similar, in my opinion, Wout, to the Silesia Quicklet match. Both these players want this. Both 1-2. They know the gravity of the situation. Both of them do. They've been in this before. They played this before. They've been successful in other games before. And I look for this one to be another knockdown dragout. Oh,
absolutely. This is going to be. I might actually try to get on board to commentate this one because I've commentated with both these guys. They're fun to have in the booth, but they're also fun to have on the field. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do because. Both of them know that they're going to have to do some things that they don't normally do to win this matchup, I think.
Very even match, in my opinion, from coming from two different ways, from what I've seen of both of them. Len the Cat and Zardia. Both 1-1, I believe.
They're 1-2.
1-2, excuse me. 1-2. Zardia... Zardia is not a 1-2 type of person. Again, people in chat discussing that he might be the most dangerous 1-2, and I can see that. I can definitely see that. I've watched Zardia. I've studied him essentially for quite a long time. And when I ended up playing him, I was able to use that to my advantage as well. Guy plays it all the time and plays it at night. He's got streams up, loves the game more than anyone that I know, other than myself, because I obviously know myself. Len the Cat, a player, never gave up in that match on Quicklet whatsoever. Again, I think this is a situation where both players are going to understand where it is that they're falling right now, and both players want this match really bad.
Absolutely, and it's one of those things. Zar plays a lot of games outside of Final Fantasy Randomizer that call on that skill set, so I can see why a lot of folks feel like he's the most dangerous player in this group. And Lynn the Cat, kind of the same story as Quicklet. He has been through some seas. And, if he didn't already have the experience under his belt, he has it now. I mean, he came into this tournament already being an old hand with this game.
Ali Gerbrat versus Green Cleric. Again, it looks like an even matchup on paper to me. Experience to both players. They've both been through this. Green Cleric was in the tournament last year, if I'm not mistaken. Ali
I believe
Gerbrat has
so.
been through the league. Yeah, Ali Gerbrat was in the league. They're both here. They're both no one similar to what we were talking about earlier with Rumblefish. They ain't gonna lay down, and you're going to have to beat them. And that one I'm looking forward to as well, Walt.
Oh yeah, that one should be a knockdown fight. This is one of those matches where I haven't had the pleasure of seeing either runner really show what they have. I think I've seen Green Cleric in other tournaments, and they are very knowledgeable about this game. They both, like you said, they're both hungry, and I think this is going to be another one of those. One runner is going to be fighting Kraken or Tiamat or even Chaos as the other one finishes.
Mm-hmm. I can't quite see the next one, Walt. Is it DD?
It is DD Gaming's and Solaris Drix, and this is going to be an interesting matchup.
I don't know a lot about either of them. I called Solaris Drix match earlier. I didn't, and I explained Solaris Drix as a player as the refs in a football game. You don't notice them, they're doing a good job. I just didn't notice a lot about Solaris Drix because he was doing a good job, won the match. It was a 4-player feature and just ran right through it. Very clean, very smooth. I was impressed.
Yeah, Solaris Drix, he has posted some pretty solid times. I'm also not too terribly familiar with either of these racers, but, he's been competitive in his matchups. DD's been competitive in his matchups. Both of these guys are going to be looking, as we've said repeatedly, they're looking for this win. They need this win to keep, their tournament hopes in their own hands.
Black Knight versus Drumbordist. Black Knight, another one that's not going to lay down. He's going to finish this game. He loves this game. I've had conversations with Black Knight. He's told me how much he loves this game. He plays it every day. He practices. He asks a lot of questions. But he might have an uphill battle here with Drumbordist. Drumbordist is a player.
Oh, absolutely. Drumbordist is one of those, probably the third of kind of the 3 players that, can arguably be, well, fourth, including Shilese. I did forget he's in this round too. So, Drumbordist is kind of the fourth of the big hitters in the 1-2 bracket.
There's going to be a day, Walt, when Black Knight arrives. You're never going to see it coming. He's going to make a move. He's going to get some RNG, and his practice is going to pay off. Could it be against Drumbordist? We don't know that, but there's going to be a day. And I've talked to him, and I've told Black Knight this, where all of a sudden it's just going to click, and you're going to get over that hump, and you're going to get over that hurdle. This Drumbordist is a pretty big hurdle, though. We'll certainly see what Black Knight has in store for Drumbordist, though.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where we're definitely going to enjoy that matchup. Magius, I am the Schwartz. This is the first of our 0-3 matches. Now, as you pointed out, things can happen. Even with 3 losses, you may still make the play-in race. So, on paper, this looks like it's a match for pride, but this is potentially also a match to, get into that play-in and sort of come out of nowhere to get into the bracket phase.
In my preparation for the tournament in the beginning, before I knew I was playing Zardia, I knew nothing about I Am the Schwartz other than one match that I saw. And it caught my eye so much that I wanted to study him, but I couldn't because there was no material for me to study. So I had to rewatch I'm the Schwartz, and I actually watched a couple of his other games because what I saw caught my eye, and I don't want to say worried or scared me, but it got my attention. I've watched the rest of I Am the Schwartz matches in this tournament right now. This guy is not 0-3. This guy's going to be dangerous coming up. He is 0-3 at this point now on paper, but this guy's a player in the future.
Absolutely. And Magius tends to wind up kind of getting his matches recapped later on, but also a player who has been through some seeds. I think a couple of his seeds have kind of made their way onto the Discord as, hey, who wants a challenge? So it's one of those things. He is 0-3 through no fault of his own. He just has gotten some luck when it comes to what he's been rolling.
Another battle of 0-3s. Development team member, lead guinea pigger, Rainbow Poogle, whom we're going to see coming up here in just a few minutes against Tyrannax. We'll get to that in just a few. Takes on Lord of the Synth. Lord of the Synth, newer to the community as well, learning a lot about the game kind of as he goes. Progressing well. A big jump from his first match to certainly his third match, but I think Lord of the Synth has a pretty big hill to climb here against the very experienced Rainbow Poogle.
And the thing about Poogle, though, is she really only started running this game seriously about the time that she started guinea pigging. She actually, her first kind of exhibition match was my first time tracking, just because it was like, well, she's going to step up. I might as well step up too and, help out where I can. But both of these runners, they've drawn a lot of poor luck in this tournament with some of the seeds they've gotten, but
yes, Rainbow Poogle, yeah, she had the first bridge seed where you had to go dig the crown out. Incredibly frustrated. I talked with Poogle about it. One of the things to note here is Poogle's late game. When we do our alpha testing and our development work, we're attempting to roll out what it is that we're going to showcase here in just a few minutes as well. Once we get to the Temple of Fiends Revisited, we know the game is beatable. So we'll usually move on and test something else. If we were testing color palettes or our new trap tile shuffle, hint, hint, on its way, we usually stop there. So Poogle's lost a lot of experience in the Temple of Fiends Revisited. And so far, I think it's been her Achilles heel is that late game experience, because we usually turn it off because we did our job and our job is done.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, her late game has definitely improved over the course of this tournament, and, it's going to be interesting to see, who comes out of this one, because Synth, like I said, he's gotten some really difficult seeds, and I think it's taught him a lot. But, we're going to get just now, so moving on from 0-3, now we're in the 3-0s.
Oh boy, here we go.
In spite of the undefeated record, I think that some of these matches are probably more even and less daunting for the runners involved than the 2-1 and 1-2 brackets had to offer. These runners are all incredibly good, and they know their opponents are incredibly good, but they know they have the chops to match them.
Right. I don't think anyone in the 3-0 should be fearful at all. They've all earned it. They've won 3 matches already. They've taken out competitors. They've taken out new guys. They've taken out old guard. Doesn't matter. You're 3-0 and you earned it. And you have to know that you're good. If you don't, time to learn it, because you can play this game.
Yeah, so first up, we've got Fuchsia Fantasy versus Silverfire. Now, Silverfire, they are very good at this game. I believe they've taught Demarine a lot of what she knows, and just watching Silverfire play, they are probably one of the. I feel like Silverfire is one of the more underappreciated competitors who could win this whole thing.
Underappreciated competitor. I like the way that you put that. I can tell you this: Silverfire, they came out of nowhere. I never saw that coming, not whatsoever. I think I may have underestimated them a little bit, and I certainly do apologize for that. And I'm really glad I'm not playing Silverfire. Had I been able to move to the 3-0 bracket, because I wouldn't know what to do, because Silverfire came out of nowhere, and wow, 3-0, going to do some damage again later on in this tournament.
Yeah, Fuchsia Fantasy, on the other hand, someone who is very well known, made a strong showing in the league, has made a really strong showing here in the tournament. These two, they're going to go at it. They're going to be able to just, I suspect that their race is going to be an execution race. It's one of those things, you can pull out all the unconventional strategies you want against either of them, if you can't execute, you're going to have a hard time. But
You are.
both of them can execute.
Right. And let me tell you about Fuchsia Fantasy. I talked about that match with Split Punched originally that I wanted to see so much. And I described Fuchsia Fantasy as take no prisoners. And Fuchsia Fantasy has proved that again and again and again, up to 3-0. And I don't see anything changing. Fuchsia Fantasy is take no prisoners. Gonna do some damage in this tournament. Well,
And speaking of people who do damage, Ichman Maya versus Salty Fry.
that's a lot of damage right there.
Oh, so
Whoa, yeah,
much
I
damage.
caught that. Ishbin Maya 3-0. He said himself, if you would have told him that he was going to be 3-0, he would have told you you're nuts. Well, Ishbin Maya, you're 3-0, and you know you certainly you took me out. All the respect in the world, and he's got a great shot at going to 4-0. He's on a roll. He's on a tear. He's probably the hottest player. Maybe, you know, it's debatable, but what isn't debatable is that Ichman Maya is hot, and I probably can't wait for this match with Salty Fry. Salty Fry finishing, I think it was 6th in the league. I know it was top 10. Maybe I don't think it was anything lower than 8. Salty Fry can really play this game too. This is going to be another knockdown drag out.
Yeah, you've been talking about players turning the corner, and I believe Salty was one of those players who turned the corner during the league, who just kind of one day this game just started clicking, and it hasn't stopped clicking for Salty Fry. He's one of those racers. You know, multiple weeks I've seen people who've been matched up with him going, ah, crap.
Yeah, and that's big respect. And Salty Fry, he arrived. He arrived during the league. Before I ever joined the community and started playing the game competitively, I watched Salty Fry. And my first race was against Salty Fry. I was involved, and he whooped me. So this one's going to be a good one. I'm actually going to try and see if I can get on the microphone during this one because I'm certainly going to enjoy it. And you know what time it is, Wout?
It's time to discuss Minochi versus X-Ice Blue, aka if some of these other matches have been battles of the Titans, this is probably a straight up match of gods.
Gods, behemoths, call it whatever it is that you want. This right here is your main event. Round 4 of the 2018 Spring Tournament for Final Fantasy Randomizer here in 2018. 3-0 Minochi 85, 3-0 X-Ice Blue. X-Ice Blue had to get through Edgeworth and the upstart Falconic to get to 3-0. Minochi 85, I think he beat Tyrannex. These guys are really good. I don't know really what else to say. If I try to describe it anymore, I might be doing both of these gentlemen disrespect, and I certainly don't want to do that. This is the main event. If you can only watch one match, this is the one to watch.
And if you want to find out who Will is going to be playing in round 5, you'll want to watch this match because whoever loses this, he's going to draw.
But more than likely, the loser of this match would fit for the pairings that I've been having, certainly. And I'm telling you right now, I don't want either one of these guys. I don't whatsoever. I'll take the challenge if need be, personally. But these guys can really play this game. It's going to come down to routing. It's going to come down to execution, RNG. I just can't wait to see this one. Well,
yeah. Well, and that's really all that needs to be said. Both of these runners are going to bring the fire, and it's going to be exciting.
Absolutely.
But
cannot wait.
Speaking of excitement, though, I believe that concludes our bracket reveal. And that means it's time for...
It starts with an S. It starts with an S. It's a really long word. It's time for shenanigans, whoa.
Oh!
Like a moth to a flame, you say the word shenanigans, and up pops Rainbow Poogle. Rainbow Poogle tonight, development team member, lead guinea pig, takes on Tyrannex, who's joined our guinea pigging team as well in playing entrance shuffle, floor shuffle. We're going to go through that real quick, and then we're going to get this game underway. So
this is going to be one of our alpha build seeds. For those of you who haven't taken the opportunity to look at the alpha page on the randomizer, it is where all of the terrible and beautiful ideas that our dev team comes up with have been being put through their paces. And we have a doozy this morning. It's morning.
It is morning, and we're going to do a shard hunt tonight. 16 shards allows you access to. It's an alternate final boss, I believe. There's so
Yeah,
many things
they
going on.
did
Yeah.
tip the alternate final boss flag because these
Mhm.
two like fun.
In theory, it should be a quick game, half an hour to 50 minutes to maybe an hour. But our
But
players have.
these two have opted to make sure that it could go longer. We've
Right,
got entrance shuffle. We've got floor shuffle. We've got town shuffle. We have store shuffle. We have weapon and armor in the store shuffle.
You know what else
have
we
magic.
got? We got game on, because here we go. We got a whole bunch of different things. We're going to go ahead and get the game going here.
Mhm.
The thing that we want to watch out for is the location of the Temple of Fiends. We need to find that. Notice Poogle right off the bat, directly to Canaria Castle, and finds a dungeon. Shows off her experience here, Walt.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you want to know what's in Corneria Castle, but you know that the town of Corneria is going to be the town of Corneria. So these two went ahead and did not shuffle the magic shops completely, just the spell levels. And it's looking like we got a fairly mild level 1 magic on both sides. Lit 3 and Viz 2.
Rack was available as well.
Yeah, enough to where you're going to get going. But we see a katana available there in the weapon shop. And that's one of the things they turned on. Weapon shops and armor shops can have anything. You can see...
Quasi boomstick. Quasi boomstick. Fire 2 staff, only 3,200 gold.
Is this even randomized?
Could be called the mage staff. Good to have for 3,000 gold. You can see Poogle's checking her item menu. Is she looking at a reroll here?
She very well could be. With that katana available, you know that if you can get your hands on that tail, your ninja's not going to be hurting for weaponry. And she is re-rolling. Let's see what she decides to go with.
Poogle thought about it. She paused on her menu. She looked at it. She is going to go ahead and go for the re-roll. This gives Tyrannex here maybe a little bit of an advantage. He's going to dive right into the dungeon, and he's going to explore this in Canaria Castle. We're starting off, and he finds the dwarf cave.
Yeah, okay, that is a very solid play right there. You can't die to the lava tiles. You're not going to get encounters on this floor because of the lava tiles. And you can go right back to the end, heal up. That was a very heads-up play on Tyrannex's part.
We didn't get a chance to touch on it. The two forced party members. It is the white mage and the black belt. All players in this game are going to have to run both of those characters. We'd also like to mention off stream, DD Gamings has joined us as well. We'll try to pick up on him a little bit and see how he's doing.
All right. And it looks like Poogle decided to go with a mage rainbow with the experience levels that they're looking at, which we hadn't got a chance to touch on, but we can now. These runners have opted for what is lovingly referred to as lull stats. Enemy stats can be anywhere between 20% of vanilla and 500% of vanilla.
500%, Walt.
But they also opted for 5x experience gain and 500 gold gain. So
Poogle, also not messing around, goes directly to the Canaria Castle, jumps in the lava, says, I want to know what's in here, finds the dwarf cave. See her pausing, making her notes right now? She'll check the 2 chests and get out of here. As Tyrannex, he's going to check out the Temple of Fiends here, the original Temple of Fiends, and he finds the ladies, Walt.
All right, but yeah, and you saw on Tyrannex's side, he gets that fight. He is able to get like 4 levels off of, a very early fight. And that's what that 5x XP flag is going to do for you. And he's also going to pick up a Fire 3 shirt. Now, we don't know if that's the black shirt or the white shirt normally, but what we do know is that is a very strong damage-dealing weapon to find.
Right, they're going to use the Fire 3 shirt as a weapon here to mow down enemies, and gain experience. I wouldn't suspect a class change coming, even finding the tail, based upon the fact that this is a 16 shard hunt. The big point is, once again, you got to find the Temple of Fiends. If that's locked behind the Oxyale or a Q block, well, better put a pot of coffee on, Walt.
Yeah, it's one of those things that Force Black Belt is a little less necessary with these stats than he would be in a more traditional seed, just because, you want that Black Belt for Temple of Fiends Revisited. And with the Shard Hunt settings, you don't see the Temple of Fiends revisited. Once you go through that black orb, you are at the final battle.
Incentivized Sea Shrine and Mermaids yields the bottle for Tyrannex now. So you get 10% experience per key item per the flag set that Poogle and Tyrannex came up with here. So experience ratcheting up just a little bit now that Tyrannex has that bottle for every fight that he takes. But the bottle's almost useless. Gotta find Gaia.
And Gaia could be almost anywhere. If I'm not mistaken, did I see an ice sword in that same room with the bottle?
I wasn't quite sure, but I can tell you that the imps just wiped out Tyrannex. He's got to go back into the mermaids now and read it because he did not or was unable to say it.
Well, he knows what's in all these chests. Meanwhile, though...
Is that the Dwarf Cave? Is that Crescent Lake?
I would assume that that's the Dwarf Cave, because Poogle got over there, and our vendor item is going to be a 10k chime.
Not bad. Well,
yeah, with the flags they've gone for, even the fetch quest items are in the shuffle. So, you know, the end result of those fetch chains you can find lying around. But that also means that the NPCs you normally would just be turning in things to continue the quest can have critical items.
Yeah, that chime could be a pretty big item, Walt, because Elfland could be behind the chime lock of the Mirage Tower, something important like that, or of course the aforementioned Temple of Fiends. You don't know, but I think this is a good move. Is that Life 2?
That is Life 2 at level 6, and that was an ice sword there in the Mermaid floor. Now that's going to be really nice for them to come to get for their Red Mage. We'd like to
welcome Fast was in there? Okay.
Fast at level 6.
We'd like to welcome Nitz to the chat room. Nitz, thank you for joining us. Nitz is a very important member of our... As Poogle picks up her adamant, she can head back to the Dwarf Cave and turn that in, because fetch quest rewards are randomized. Who knows what in the world Blacksmith might give us? Could be a cube, could be a Mazmoon, could be a ribbon, could be a lot of different things.
And Warmech, to answer the question, chat, is required. So if they've got to go through Warmech to get something, that is going to be fun. If I recall correctly, Warmech required locks off... Does that block off the Bridge of Destiny, or does that block off the teleport to the Bridge of Destiny?
He stands right out in front. Essentially, he is required in order to get to Tiamat, and he guards the chamber of the evil fiend of the wind, Tiamat.
So, Tiamat in Shard Hunt is a very good thing to find, because you take Tiamat down, you're getting 4 shards.
It's an option, definitely is. Given that this is a 16 shard hunt, unless you find him on the way and it's maybe an early entrance and you want to take a shot at him, I wouldn't think any of our players really would necessarily want to do that. But hey, it's shenanigans, it's alpha testing, and who knows?
Yeah, look at this menu. I think we actually are looking at an 18 shard hunt.
Okay, it might be 18. My understanding was it was 16, as Rainbow Poogle picks up her bottle now. So...
Going ahead and getting that fairy released. And yeah, I will be surprised if she doesn't make a trip back to Dwarf Cave before she heads toward the Provoca spot. So far, not a lot of progression items. We're probably looking at the canoe being located at either Matoya or Provoca spots. We don't know what's in there. We don't know how deep they're going to have to dig to get the item that is in those spots, but we at least know where they're probably looking. I guess they could find the ship there either, but...
Right. Turning in the adamant to the Dwarf Cave, I would think is certainly the next play for both players to do. And if I was to guess, the ship... the canoe is certainly an option as well. But I would think the ship is perhaps next on the list.
Yeah, we'll find out shortly, because once Poogle gets back over to Provoca, that is her next stop. And the excitement of the chime, I missed that we also had cheap tents available in the Crescent Lake Cave.
Mm-hmm. Tents are still important, as are houses, even with the encounter rate cut in half in both dungeons and the overworld. Still very important. You dive a dungeon, come back with light... standing, you're still going to want to save, so they're still important in entrance and floor shuffle, even with less encounters.
Absolutely. And so it's going to be one of those things. We're going to see what's here at the blacksmith here, and it's the canoe. So forget everything I just said. The world is opened up for Poogle and probably Tyrannex here shortly.
Yep, Tyrannex, he'll catch up a little bit. Poogle with a little bit of an advantage right now. She's going to go ahead and head west and south toward the northwest castle, which would be the next method of progression for our players this morning.
Not a bad call, because that gets you closer to Marsh Cave and to Elfland and Elfland Castle. And in Entrance Shuffle, you know, in the conventional randomizer, chest density is what we talk about a lot of times in terms of kind of routing decisions. In Entrance Shuffle, it's all about entrance density. You want to get to those places where you can check what's where in rapid succession. As soon as these two gain access to the airship, I guarantee one, if not both of them, are going to make a beeline for the Cardia Islands, if only to kind of give that inspection tour, find out what is where.
One thing, Nitsy's here in chat right now that he's been working a few days as Tyrannex picks up his canoe for progression now. Trap, tile, shuffle. We were only able to test really one seed. We haven't brought it out here for an exhibition match yet. We want to do a little bit more testing with it. Essentially, when you go to the Volcano Armory, where you always have to take on that gray worm to get those middle chests right there, could be a whole lot of different tiles now. You could get 6 wolves. You could get zombie dragons. You don't know. So that is in the works right now. We've also got a couple other things that we're going to go through in just a little bit coming up. But that one is actually live on the alpha site at this point in time. But like I said, it's the alpha site and it's still in testing.
It looks like Northwest Castle leads to floor 2 of the Mirage Tower. And Poogle is going to make a dip in here, see what she can find.
I like it. Fire 3, sure. She's going to try to use that. It's not doing much damage. Oh.
But those chimeras are.
They're just going in for another one.
I mean, it's one of those things. If she can get down here, if she can win one of these fights, that's a ton of experience. If she can get to these chests, that's a ton of items. And she still needs to find out what's on this She needs to find out what's up the stairs there.
Poogle loses 2 white warriors, but she continues to fight.
It's one of those.
Gotta keep that white mage up, though.
Yeah, she's got these 10 chests here, and it looks like our shards this time are actually espers.
Pro cape, some money. Flame sword is found. Nothing too incredible.
3 espers. All right, yeah, and it is 16 shards. My bad there, but it is one of those things. She's gonna try and get this out.
I think she's moving on, Walt. She gets an unrunnable Cerebrus fight. That's going to cause a lot of trouble. Tyrannex has the same fight on the other side. They both fire Lightning 3 against the Cerebrus, and none of them go down.
And that Fire 3 is also not going to do much good. Poogle's going to keep trying. They have yet to bring... Well, there we go. Her White Mage was able to hold up very well against that assault.
Mm-hmm.
And
time to move on, yeah.
Yeah, she knows what's down there. She knows that she can, even if she doesn't have those shards in hand, she knows where those espers are. And she'll be back.
The espers are, the pro cape. There wasn't anything game-changing in there, Woat, for her to make sure that she goes back in for. And I would think she heads south now to Marsh Cave.
It would make sense as a play. You're already on this side of the continent. It's about as long a walk to Marsh Cave as is to Elfland. It's not necessarily a move your opponent's going to make just because, even though you know it's probably not Marsh Cave, it's still Marsh Cave.
And we're
going to see the cauldron. There's no reason not to.
Yeah.
You at least can, you can get through this floor and... Ooh. Really, game? Really? Ladies and gentlemen,
in Marsh Cave. Poogle pauses. She's making a lot of notes now. Why is she making notes on this particular floor, Wout?
Because these two runners, when they decided on the flags for this, in their infinite wisdom, and I use wisdom in the loosest sense of the term, decided to incentivize the key-locked chest here in the southeast corner of Marsh Cave, bottom floor.
Whenever I get the honor of calling these races, I talk about shenanigans. Rainbow Poogle always pops up somehow, and something weird happens. And is that progression?
That is progression. That'll get us over to the Provoca area without having to go the long way.
Interesting. Given that that bridge is right there, I'd almost want to head there immediately.
Yeah, and I'm just going to point out, these two are the two who chose this. We have a tail. If we can find Bahamut, that might come in handy come the late game. Although we're not going to be using that right away because both of these runners, I think, are looking to use black belt strats.
I think that's in the back of their mind for sure. That would make the alternate final boss easier, more than likely. Tyrannix continuing to use the Fire 3 shirt and the Fire 2 staff to attempt to get deeper here in what he's found of the Mirage Tower.
Trying to use that early Brack to finish this fight off.
He's spending a lot of time on this fight here. Definitely wants to be rewarded with information, knowledge, and items.
No, he's here. I think he's after the XP at this point. This is an unrunnable encounter, granted, but if he can get out of this fight, he is going to be rolling in levels. Like, this may almost push him to the double digits right here. Yes, it is going to be 10% XP per key item, to answer the question in chat.
Mm-hmm. And Poogle just picked up 2 key items, the bridge and the tail. So that EXP, again, just creeps up little by little, more and more. And Elfland, she's found Provoca now, level 2 magic, and another incentivized item, Walt.
Absolutely, and we've got Heal 3 and Life at level 2 white magic. That is a good pickup, and
yeah.
Unfortunately, I think Life is in a white mage only spot. But
level 2 magic is actually learnable.
You're right.
By the Knight and the Red Mage.
You're right.
Level 2 magic is great.
Yeah, I was thinking level 3, but you're right. So yeah, everyone's going to be able to at least pick up Life, Heal 3. That's going to make survivability a lot better. We may see Poogle head back to Northwest Castle with Life handy. She might pick up a couple more levels before then. Defense Sword, the Ice 2 sword now.
Tyrannix finishes off the Cerebri, is rewarded with 3 chests and a dead end of Northwest Castle. However, Wout, like you said, he is double digits, level 11 across the board for his Light Warrior party.
Yeah. In, normal randomizer races that aren't shenanigans, you are going to see runners oftentimes try to pick up these battles here in the Mirage Tower, in the Sky Castle, because even in a normal seed, it's good experience. But in a situation like this, that is exceptional experience.
Tyrannix headed back north, it looks like. Is that the canal?
Yeah, that is the canal. So we are a ship away from being able to explore more places. And it looks like those unsafe pirates they turned on did stone Poogle's white mage.
With no soft potions available in Provoca, Rainbow Poogle has 1 stoned white mage.
Yeah, this is why we didn't turn on the unsafe pirates flag for the tournament, and probably won't.
I don't see a problem with it. I don't know.
The problem with it is things like this, where you're not gonna have a Fire 3 shirt dealing with the pirates.
Tyrannix has a nice stack of about 40 tents. It looks like he headed back to Crescent Lake to really refill everything, get his magic charges back. He's going to move on to Elfland now, as Poogle's just a little bit ahead, and she's going to dive deeper here. No encounters on this floor of Bahamut right now, and she finds Sarda, another incentivized item to add to the pool vote.
Yeah, and Tyrannix is going to go ahead and grab this too, but we find the crystal. That's going to be handy if we find Matoya's cave, because that's going to give us something to trade to Matoya.
The experience of Poogle here, they both had a hand in making the flags, but I know in the back of her mind, she's got that. She knows she's getting those boosts. I would imagine she's going to look to maybe take some fights soon and certainly get a potion.
And I'm a little bit lagging behind in being reminded of some things, but our developer Nitz messaged me a little bit earlier to point out that the open progression flags, which we are familiar with from the tournament, has a new wrinkle in it that's currently in testing. And I believe this was suggested by Magius, actually. One of the river tiles north of Northwest Castle has been removed. It is now possible to walk to the Marsh Cave Elfland area.
I'm not sure. Nitz, you'd be able to answer that better. I don't know if that flag is live or that option is live quite yet. It might be, but it's definitely probably going to be soon. And along with the trap tile randomization, another option that we're going to be putting into alpha and testing, and just another feature here for the Final Fantasy Randomizer fans and players.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, the open progression, it gives this randomizer a different kind of open world feel than a lot of other randomizers that open things up. It's not, you can't just go wherever you want. You still have to do some exploration. But once you can, but the options for what kind of exploration you're doing expand dramatically. You have that, you have that canoe to circle the southern continent. You have that ship and that TNT that lets you get up to Onrak or the Mirage Tower. You have, the ability to walk places even if you don't have the canoe. It is definitely a different feel, I think, compared to something like Free Enterprise, where, you start the game off everywhere in the overworld's open to you.
We are working on our tracker currently, making sure that everything lights up. So as you see some things lighting up and kind of going there like the wind orb, we're just working on that right now. No orbs have been lit. We've definitely found a decent amount of espers so far, representing our shards here, but we're looking for progression. We absolutely must find the Temple of Fiends. We don't need the loot. We certainly don't need the Mystic Key, although both players would certainly like to have it more than likely. But finding the Temple of Fiends is really the question in this 16 shard hunt and ultimate final boss battle.
And to address a question in chat, this is not a tournament match. This is just an exhibition of some of our alpha features. This is basically a floor entrance shuffle shard hunt, meaning that their goal is not to light the orbs. Their goal is simply to collect 16 MacGuffins and then track down the Temple of Fiends to go fight something. We don't know what they're going to be fighting, but it'll be entertaining.
Tyrannex headed towards the original Marsh Cave. He's going to dive in there. He's going to find the bottom of the cave now. So he could potentially, if he can get out of here, find the bridge and the tail and try to even up a little bit with Rainbow Poogle.
Very true. And, it's one of those things, Poogle is opting to not even bother with the bridge. She's going to take the counterclockwise rotation around the southern continent, one we've seen a decent amount of in the tournament already, where you start in Corneria, you head toward Dwarf Cave, and you just circle around using that canoe to get over to Crescent Lake and eventually over to Provoca.
Level 11 now for Poogle, a little bit behind Tyrannex at this point.
Yes, but it's one of those things, she is making forward progress, which is, something that is important. She finds part of Sea Shrine. She's going to dig this out, see what she can see. And it's going to be another Cardia Isles cave. And this one has the gold bracelet in it. Very nice for the mage-heavy party we have. Or even just for the... Oh, did she find a soft potion here in the chest?
That's a soft potion in the...
Very nice.
When are you excited to find a soft potion? There's a good example of it.
Yeah, so now, the shard hunt, this what Merritt's mentioned, what it does is it replaces a lot of the low-level items with these espers that they're finding. And low-level items are small gold rewards, heal potions, I think pures are also on the list. Soft potions are not one of those things that gets replaced. Even in the late game, you can never have too many soft potions.
Tyrannex attempting to run out his bridge and his tail, gets a chance to strike first against 3 scorpions. Gotta be happy to see that.
Our restreamer, Nerastra, very unhappy that Marsh Cave was at Marsh Cave. But nonetheless, Marsh Cave is off the table until they go back to check that incentive spot that they incentivized for reasons that only make sense to these two.
Tyrannix is headed back up north now. He's not going to take the eastern route that Poogle did. I would think that he's probably going to save a Crescent Lake, get his charges back, continue probably his levels lead, and maybe use the bridge that he just found.
And we do see that that open river tile is already live in this race. And that's going to be live in the alpha build. I don't believe it's going to move into production till at least we hit the bracket phase of the tournament, just to keep things consistent for the Swiss rounds. Poogle finding a sea shrine floor here in Volcano. And this is one of the other features that the floor shuffle brings to the table. The palette of the floor you're on is going to match whatever you walked into. So, this is a sea shrine with volcano color scheme.
Tyrannix does decide to use the bridge option, so we've got diverting paths now. He heads directly to Matoya's cave and finds nothing.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, I don't think this is a bad move on Tyrannix's part. He's already got some good levels under his belt. He doesn't need to necessarily take some fights on the southern half of the continent. And he is rewarded with the armory floor here in Provoca.
As Poogle moves up to level 12 and continues her deep dungeon dive here, that could be deep. Tyrannix's move, I like it. I think it paid off, at least as of right now. He finds the armory floor. Get in, get a couple chests, get out, save. Maybe that type of strategy. He's doing the out-of-the-way ones first, wants to see what they have.
And Poogle finding an Ice 2 here in the continuation of the Sea Shrine. And a volcano floor, but it is the chest-rich volcano floor.
That's right. A nice volcano floor. Wow, this is interesting. You get both players, different directions, different ideas, different agendas, and they both find treasure-rich floors. Can they get it out?
Now, here's the thing, though, that Poogle's got to be thinking about. This is the Agama grind floor, and she just found a ribbon. She's got that black belt in her party, and they've got very high XP gain on, and she's got, I think we're up to 4 or 5 key items now.
Tyrannix decides not to leave and save. He's going to dig deeper towards the armory area at this point in time. Poogle using a quad axe to continue on. She did put the ribbon on the white mage, and she's got a lot of espers now. She even just found like 4 of them already.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If Poogle wanted to get that black belt some levels, if those, Agamas aren't too unfriendly, this may be a prime opportunity for Poogle to make sure she doesn't have to worry about anything for the rest of this seed.
Falconic pointing out in chat that Tyrannix didn't save before entering here. And there's the ship. Okay.
Ship at Provoca, really.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those things, though. He's got some good levels under his belt. He's got some decent spells. Even with the high enemy stats that these two decide to go with, he is probably not in too great amount of danger digging out this floor.
Based upon what I see, either heal 3 gauntlet. Big pickup for Poogle here. Tyrannix, he gets more espers too. This is an even match here from what I can see so far. However, I wanted to point out that we've still got the Ice Cave coming up as well. I've got a feeling that between either of these 2 dungeons that either player is in or the Ice Cave could be a floater sighting. I've got a feeling of that based upon the way that this is going, because that ship will allow them to move around a little bit more. But I think we might have a floater maybe on the horizon.
You very well might. Agamas probably are not going to be the grind for Poogle this time. Nope. We're looking at least 300 HP. They've got a stun. They've got Blaze.
They got Blaze! Poogle's got to get out of this fight now. Heal 3 gauntlet, maybe?
she is still trying to throw punches with her black belt. I'm not sure I like this decision. Her black belt's at only level 14, and I know that
She's got life too.
yeah, she can't cast it. She does have life though.
Quad X should take care of this egg. Oh my, it's got the trance skill.
Yeah, it rolled. It also has gaze. These Agamas are not
Oh,
friendly.
404 damage, and Pukul gets out of it.
And fortunately, her red mage is able to pick up party members, and between the two of them, they have just enough life charges to get everyone on their feet.
Nit's
Now-
also pointing out in chat as well, we've got the canal, and now we've got the ship. Tyrannix has found the ship. Could be an advantage here. Maybe the floater isn't coming up right now.
And it looks like he found another sea shrine floor underneath that armory. Looks like Provoke is going to go deep.
Tyrannix is getting his
ooh,
world rocked
but
right now
these-
by wizard mummies and mummies. Gonna try to get off the fire 2-stick. Oh, he's got to reset. He lost all. Did he get out and save?
I don't know if he did. He's not he's moving like he isn't going to dig out that floor.
Okay.
He may just be holding off until he can see what's in these other chests here on this floor. This is normally the floor above Kraken that he's on.
Google continuing. I thought this dungeon might be a little bit deep. It's an earth floor, an annoying, windy floor. Bulls on around here. Falconic's favorite enemy, red gargoyles are. Or gargoyles, excuse me. I don't know. Gargoyles are everywhere.
Plenty of heal items, at least, available to these runners. So it's one of those things. Ooh, great sharks with zap, and
The zap is a spell you don't see very often from a regular in-game enemy. You can see it on the Fiends many, many times. But a gray shark just zapped 2 of Tyrannix's light warriors all the way to the 4th dimension.
but he does get a lot of experience for the 2 survivors. Poogle, meanwhile, finds Elfland Castle at the bottom of this volcano dive. So that is somewhere we may see later on if she finds the herb.
The herb, or even perhaps the Mystic Key. 4 chests could be valuable around here as well. I like what we're seeing with the Espers. If you just walk in like a clockwise or counterclockwise circle, and if you have success in getting in and getting out, getting pretty close to that 16 Esper mark at least.
Yeah. Poogle, meanwhile, losing her white mage to another one of these Cerebus fights, but is going to make her way out. I don't know if we're going to see her come back if she has just the Mystic Key.
Tyrannix opts to avoid the wizard mummy type trap tile and settles for a 3 water trap tile, and I don't know how this is going to go.
Well, these 500% stats are showing why they're called lull stats.
Looks like the waters didn't roll too hot. Tyrannix takes out all 3 waters, had to use some spells and everything. But level 16, 17, 18 now for Tyrannix. As Poogle, she's going to try to get out of here with everything that she looted from that volcano floor.
Yeah, and so she should be fine at this point, knock on wood. I don't think we've seen anything too dangerous, but that may change here. She is low on spells.
She's got the heal 3 gauntlet, so I believe she moved to the red mage and off the white mage, I think. That would certainly help a preemptive heal 3 potential to get away from enemies. But I'll tell you what, that black mage down on one knee is not a good sign.
Yeah, she does have the Ice 2 sword to her credit. That is normally the defense in non-item magic shuffle. And I think in this case, I don't know which one she'd want more, but her Ice 2 owner is down. She does still have the Ice Sword on her red mage, and that may be what carries her through this fight.
Guys, look at the life spells as well. Meanwhile, Tyrannix has heal 2 for a castable item. So we got a heal 3 gauntlet. Oh, I was right. There it is.
There's the floater. with Matoya. So that crystal coming into play.
Matoya's cave, I believe, is at the bottom of. Was this original entrance is Provoca?
Yeah, I think this is still the Provoca dive. So, oh, that dark May, and yeah, Poogle unfortunately taking a death there and losing everything she found there in the volcano.
That's a setback. Definitely a setback. So now Tyrannex, advantage Tyrannex, lead to Tyrannex. He's got the floater in hand.
Well,
He can get out of here.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's still got to get out of here.
Level 19 and 20 for Tyrannex now. Extends his lead maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, and it looks like Poogle is just going to come back to Volcano later, if at all. She's going to head over to the Ice Cave and see what's there. And, Poogle made the same error in her match the other day. She turned up instead of heading toward Ice Cave, and she catches herself this time.
Shenanigans. No sign of any type of fiend taking out weapon at this point. Heal 2, castable item, heal 3, gauntlet, fire 2, stick. Not bad, but no sign of, other than, of course, the level black belt potential, no sign of a Mazmoon. The defense sword we have found, but it's been replaced because of the random weapons and armor, the random item magic. No sign of the Vorpal, or we don't have any thieves, but a katana or anything like that.
Well, we did see the katana in the weapon shop in Corneria.
Okay, we had katana for sale, but I don't think we have any thieves or ninjas.
Yeah, we don't have any thieves or ninjas, but and that's actually what I thought Poogle might have been considering re-rolling for originally, was someone who could take advantage of that very cheap katana. Because katana, it is on par with the Vorpal sword if you have someone who can hold it, who can use it.
Mm-hmm. Tyrannex has his airship. That's another key item, by the way. That counts. Another 10% in the experience for every fight that Tyrannex has now.
Yeah, and he is going to go ahead and start making these quick checks in these entrances that you can just get to. Poogle, meanwhile, finds the Waterfall Cave and one of the branches of Sea Shrine at Ice Cave. The English language was not prepared for these settings. I'm sorry.
Tyrannex raids his find of Crescent Lake. They can both check that off their list now. And a little birdie is telling me one of the premier matchups, in my opinion, Tristal MTG and Edge Figaro might want to play tonight, Wout.
Yeah, I've seen that in chat earlier, but I figured I'd wait for it to be fully official before saying anything so that, we regulate the supply of hype.
Yeah, rumors are flying 6 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, somewhere there, potentially right here on the Randomania family of networks.
Oh, absolutely. And that is going to be something I might, as soon as that goes up for commentary, I may go ahead and try to pull that. We might both be back here tonight for that.
We might be. Meanwhile, Rainbow Poogle is in the waterfall. She's run into the mummies now in the cock dress. These perished Tyrannex earlier, and they're giving it to Poogle now too.
Yeah, Poogle's big help this time is she at least has more of her spells available. I think what really did her in last time is she was out of life charges on that red mage, but those lit 3s doing work, and she'll be able to pick up her party with the red mage.
Level 12 and 13. 2 light warriors still alive for Poogle now. No matter what, she's going to get some information here. Can she get out of here is the question. She's going to revive her warriors now and do what it is that she has to do with 30 heal potions left.
Ooh, one thing that death does do with Poogle, she loses that ribbon. I knew there was something on this floor that she found, and it was that ribbon she found in the upper left-hand room, I believe?
A ribbon that Tyrannex is also going to find pretty quick here. X for X. TNT found for Poogle now.
Yeah, an X for hammer. That is...
That's maligned. Someday there's going to be arguments about X-Fer. I'm surprised it hasn't quite happened yet. I can tell you this, I know Poogle pretty well, and Poogle like her X-Fer.
Yeah, with the spell selection we have at hand and the enemy stats, that X for being able to strip away elemental defense, especially like against things like Ice 3 or Fire 3, that's something that actually may come in handy. You know, you might not necessarily want to waste that spell cast on X-Fer, but if it's free, why not? You know, get a little bit of extra damage, especially when you don't really have those non-elemental spells to clean house.
Poogle once again down to 2 Light Warriors, fires off a Lightning 3. She's almost able to get past this trap tile now. She's going to try to get out of here, but how many light spells does she have left?
I believe she's at least got 1, and that'll be enough to get the White Mage up and go through her White Mages.
Okay.
She's going ahead and burning off her Red Mage's life casts.
Both of them, yes.
Yeah, I would have saved one of those to be able to pick up the White Mage again, especially as fragile as her White Mage is.
Poogle was considering moving the White Mage down in the turn order, and she gets ambushed by mummies now.
Yeah, I would have moved that White Mage down personally. Your Red Mage and your Black Mage, they're both pretty sturdy characters now.
She gets away. She's got to be nervous now. She's got the White Mage in the top slot at this point in time. That White Mage is really important here, Walt.
At this point, she may just be thinking, use the White Mage to eat a hit. Your Red Mage and your Black Mage are sturdy enough, possibly, to get out of here. But the less hits they take, the better, but that's not a good sign.
No life spells left. She used both of them instead of resurrecting the White Mage and using the White Mages. It's time for a hero. Can she get out of here with only the Red Mage?
The Red Mage has the resilience and the damage output if she gets caught in an unrunnable, but she gets off of this floor. She's not completely out of the clear yet, but...
Look out! Oh no, that Grey Shark's got zap! Oh,
she gets out of that one! Alright, she should... Fingers crossed, she's out. Alright.
She's out of the ice cave. Incentivized item TNT could make a big difference here, but the problem is we already know where the floater is. Up in the original Provoca. Tyrannex has it. He's extending his lead as we go along here.
Yeah, the other thing to be concerned about, Poogle knows where the ship is. She may just assume this is a floater is somewhere out there seed and set out on a, world-spanning voyage.
Nah, Poogle's gonna jump right back into the same area and take the left fork.
Oh yeah, no, she's gonna take this fork. I'm saying after she gets done. Does Poogle not have any houses?
I'm not sure.
Have we seen houses? I think that's the better question.
That's a good question too. I know I've seen a couple in chat that have been found along the way. I know that. Yeah, chat
correcting me, it's Tyrannex who found the ship. Poogle is still unaware of where the ship is. My bad. Tyrannex trying to remember whether or not he has the herb at hand, I think. And realizing he does not yet have the herb. So he is going to... Bismarck pondering what she is doing, and...
Bismarck, I think it's a we're having fun thing here. This is something, that we do all the time. She's going to get the heck out of here, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think she was trying to see if she could dip any deeper into that fork, and the answer is she needs to go find a town.
Game Boy F9.
Well, she does have 2 houses.
Yeah, she's got houses, yeah. Game Boy F9, thank you for joining us in chat. Game Boy F9, the purveyor of a potential Rad Racer randomizer? Little birdie told me that too, or it could be actually live at this point in time.
Okay, I'm just going to correct you there, Will. Game Boy F9, the purveyor of about half the randomizers that people play.
Yeah, but it's Rad Racer, won't. I mean, it's Rad Racer. Can you play it with the Power Glove is my question.
Yeah, Poogle opting to just keep her Red Mage up. She may be contemplating just... I don't know. Poogle...
I don't know.
She may just be tilted a little bit at this point. She's taken a couple of deaths that have set her way back. That Waterfall Cave giving her fits. But she's at least going to go ahead and head up to Provoca. She's going to see what there is to see. Hopefully she finds this floater soon. Either that, or she might just be deciding she's going to go solo red mage strats.
Yeah, yeah.
So, this is going to be...
A link in chat, Rad Racer Randomizer is a real thing, and my understanding is it's live. So there you go, right here. Final Fantasy Randomizer teaming up with Rad Racer, giving a little cross promotion this morning here, while we have some shenanigans, and the Gray Sharks have Fire 3 and Zap. Oh boy.
These great sharks are going to be interesting, and...
She's going to reset? Yeah.
Yeah, there is no reason to go back through that trap tile.
Vaconic, the upstart, in chat pointing out that Pogo might just find her floater pretty quick here. That would be a sizable move for her, considering the way this game has gone so far.
Except
or
she is leaving Provoca to head toward Matoya's cave, I assume.
Yeah, Matoya's cave is nothing. She'll be able to quickly get out of there. And we'll see if she heads back to Canaria to fully revive her Light Warriors. I think she's out heal potions. There's not many, for sure, but she may be out.
Yeah, I think she burned through her heal potions, picking her party up back in the Waterfall Cave. So let's see where she's going to go from... Yeah, she looks like she's heading back toward Carnaria.
Maybe reevaluate the situation?
I assume she's going to revive her party once she gets to Carnaria. She may just not be thinking about the fact that the houses give her Red Mage those life charges back.
Meanwhile, Tyrannex has winded his way through. He gets his TNT, another item, key item from the robot. He knows where the dwarf cave is. Poogle might go ahead and hit up the dwarf cave as well, turn in that TNT, and see what it is that she gets from that. Meanwhile, Tyrannex has got more mummies. They got him earlier. And these guys they're ambushing, they're striking, they're doing a whole lot of damage. Well,
oh yeah, no, these mummies are absolutely brutal in this seed. Like, it's one of those things, it's interesting to me how often we see seeds where the mummies are what you need to be afraid of in those encounters instead of the wizards. Mummies.
Oh, gosh, if this is the Mystic Key, let's see what it is. It's Oxiale. Okay, if that was the Mystic Key, this game could get really interesting.
Yeah, Oxiale is still interesting, though, because Tyrannex, he's probably not going to go back and check this until he has the Mystic Key in hand. It's a one-off location. You're forced to heal after checking it, just because you had to run through that lava floor.
You know what? I would probably check that. Given the airship, I would probably go right there to refill, whether it's the heal pots or maybe soft potions, etc., because of the option of, we talked about it earlier, you got to find the Temple Fiends, and if you hand in that TNT, it could be the rod, and the Temple Fiends could be behind that rod block. So as easy as it is to, I don't want to do that, or you want to do that, it could be potentially very important. In this case, it's the Oxiale, and if he doesn't do that, and the Temple of Fiends is behind the Oxiale block somewhere in Onrak, who knows where that thing is, it could be turn the tide.
Yeah, it's one of those things. With the airship available, though, he has so many entrances to check. Even if Temple of Fiends, even if there is a block in his path, his mind is not on, well, what if it's blocked? Because in his mind, there is still way more odds that it is not behind a block. And
more mummies.
Yeah, those mummies are currently giving Tyrannex the business, though.
They're giving him the business this morning.
Down to the white mage. That Fire 2 staff gives him a fighting chance.
Oh boy. 5 life charges, but he's got to get out of this fight now. Tyrannex attacks again with the Fire 2 staff. He's out of the fight, taking down the Wizard Mummy. Level 24 and 25. 24 and 25 off of one fight with the white mage. I like it, Whoa.
Yeah, and Falconic in chat pointing out that Tyrannex is closing in on chaos-ready levels. Under normal circumstances, that is correct. But I would remind everyone, we are looking at a 500% seed.
Yep.
Chaos could be made of paper. He could roll 20% on his HP. He could be a titan of a fight.
Chaos might not even show up. 2 Warmechs might show up. Falconic knows Warmech pretty well. They're buddies.
Yeah, 2 Warmechs at 500% stats, that's going to be the thing. Chaos could show up. We could be looking at the Chaos Garland formation.
The time loop. Zap from the Grey Sharks. Takes out 3 of Tyrannex's Light Warriors. He's down to the White Mage again. Fire 3 for the Grey Shark. He gets away again.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been a one-man production of Will Cleosis Gets Excited.
Heals up. Can he get out of here? Poogle struggle get out of here. He's able to get out of the ice save yet, though. This would be a good time to get to Canaria. Fill up your heal potions and turn in that TNT.
Yeah, Falconic making the excellent point that once you can find that chaos, you can at least dip at 26 and feel comfortable that you might have a good shot. Ooh, that lock staff selling for a lot. So that must have been our wizard staff this seed.
Yeah, wizard staff, what, heal staff? Potentially? There's another staff out there somewhere.
Yeah, you have wizard, mage, and heal as your 3 staves that could be shuffled. But I believe wizard staff almost always sells for a decent chunk of change.
Reaching the 50-minute mark now, I would think Tyrannex is our clear leader at this point. He's got the airship. He's got a good amount of items.
He's got the Oxyel.
Right. So potential Oxyel block should we find on rack. Again, we talked about this earlier. Temple of Fiends. I would think the focus would be now on finding that somehow.
So the good news for Poogle is she is back in the Provoca area, in the Provoca spot. So she should be getting her floater on this dive. If nothing else, her red mage is bulky as all get out thanks to a few adventures.
Thunder from the hyenas takes out the white mage, and the black mage is down on one knee.
At this point, Poogle may just want to decide to Dan her red mage. That's another flag I forgot they turned on. The Titan's Trove flag. So what that does is that changes the Titan's tunnel just a little bit. Yeah, the Titan takes a couple of steps back. The walls of the cave shift a little bit. And ooh, that is a good floor for Tyrannex to find.
Titan's Tunnel East, I believe, cave is a sky castle.
Yeah, and that's Sky Castle 3. That is a floor, even in go mode, you'll see runners up to just dig out because it's a relatively short walk.
Tyrannex again decides not to exit and save after a quick loot.
Well, he didn't really find anything worth holding on to. I think he might have found an Esper, but that's easy enough to dig back out. Question chat, what are the Espers? So, what these 2 runners are doing is a mode that we lovingly refer to as Shard Hunt or Treasure Hunt. And instead of having to clear out the fiends, your goal is to discover 16 MacGuffins. They can be called shards, they can be called forces, they can be called espers. And once you have your required amount, you can go to the Temple of Fiends. Once you find the Temple of Fiends, activate the black orb and immediately jump to the final boss fight.
Is that Lich? I believe Tyrannex in Titan's Tunnel East has found Lich, the Earth Fiend. Now, if you take out Lich, that counts. Well, not necessarily taking out Lich, but lighting an orb. In this case, lighting the Earth Orb, I believe, counts for 2 Espers in this case. That's got to be right at 16, right? Well, he's got to be close to it.
I haven't been paying too much attention. The biggest issue with Shard Hunt is the menuing. It looks like he's still got probably 3 more to find after he takes that Lich. 3 or 4 more.
I feel pretty confident. He doesn't have the new Fade or anything like that, but Tyrannex is going to take on Lich, and I don't know anyone who respects Lich.
He's level 25, and it's Lich. Like, he can probably take Lich down just with the black belt punching.
Elfland has still not been found at this point in time. I gotta think that that's a pretty big key spot, looking for 3 and 4 magic, whether it's Warp and Exit. Although the value of Warp and Exit is fading fast the longer this match goes. They
And there we go. Temper on the black belt, and Lich is done. Tyrannix also has some Fire 3 stuff at hand, so... And just as we feared, Poogle is leaving with the ship in hand.
Oh.
Yeah, Fuchsia pointing out, Lich did... Oh,
there
and
it is.
there is our Temple of Fiends. Tyrannix not even bothering attacking with anyone else. His black belt is going to knock Garland down.
In this case, you knock down Garland, you talk to Princess Sarah. You don't get a warp anywhere. Princess Sarah disappears. She goes back with her father, the King of Canaria. You'd have to find Canaria Castle, talk to her again to get her item.
Which neither of our runners have seen Canaria Castle yet.
Mm-hmm.
But Poogle's about to go on a voyage. So in entrance shuffle, the ship can be anywhere.
She's going back.
It can be anywhere. And so the ship defaults to the Corneria dock, and Poogle making the right call.
Tyrannix has found Onrak. He's got the Oxyale. Interesting to see if he checks it out.
So, Poogle, I think, decided in... He's just going to probably wind up leaving the ship at Provoca.
Right.
Actually, no. She can probably take it down and at least go ahead and get the ship get a slightly shorter walk to the ice cave. Actually, no. I'm not thinking of the map right. No, not the ice cave. Okay, chat, ignore me for a moment while I get my thoughts in order here. She'll be able to take that ship down to the river system and get a shorter walk to the floater. There we go. Yeah, there's a river she can hop on. That'll take her pretty close to the floater, where the airship is.
Yeah.
Probably taking a moment to evaluate her choices in life. But she is back on the move again, getting that money out of Matoya's cave and making her way out of the Provoca area to go cash in her floater.
Tyrannix has got so many espers at this point, knowing where Temple and Fiends Revisited is. I can only think Poogle can get her airship if she heads north and finds a lot of stuff. Maybe Bahamut. Maybe some weapons. And can find the Temple of Fiends fairly quickly. I think she might be able to get back in this race.
Well, speaking of finding Bahamut, Tyrannix just did. So Poogle opting to take the river route. Probably just not wanting to gamble that she remembers her river systems well enough.
Making a beeline. Half being kind of right on the overworld. I know she's got a lot of experience with this routing here on foot. Probably feels safe.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe thinking of going ahead and trying to pick up some more levels, get some toughness on that black belt and that white mage. You know, it's one of those things you don't want to have to lean on just your red mage and black mage to carry you, especially when you don't have 3rd or 4th level magic yet.
Tyrannix opts to go ahead and class change. Is he headed to... He's headed to Onrak and the level 7 spells there, it looks like.
Well, he saw Warp there, and that might be his motivation there. Warp, a very strong spell here.
Poogle honing in on the Ryukon Desert now to use her floater and the magical airship up here. She's only at 4 espers right now, but she does know where a lot are. She does have that knowledge.
Very true, and it's one of those things. Her black belt and white mage are definitely lagging behind in levels. Her red mage and her black mage doing a bit better in terms of that level gain. So it's one of those things. Tyrannix does have a bit of a lead right now, but Poogle can very easily close the gap if she makes some good calls in terms of where she goes from here. Tyrannix finds the Castle of Ordeals. These pillars are shuffled, so it'll be a little bit of a minute. I don't know if he has healed up to get those level 7 charges yet. He has. All right.
4 warp charges for Tyrannix. He needs 3 espers to complete his collection. He has class promoted. Castle Ordeals is incentivized. Momentum, advantage, Tyrannix. He's really starting to steamroll this seed now, right at the hour mark.
All right, so Poogle at least does find the best sword outside of the Mozumi and her party can equip. Stone poison, though, on those scrapes.
Oh my, the enemies have just ravaged Poogle this entire game. Tyrannix is lost. He's getting out of here. There you go. Using the warp spell, and he gets right through. Exit. Yeah. All right. 13 chests, I believe. 7, 8, 9. 9 chests somewhere. We'll call it 10. Right around 10 or a dozen chests in here. Picks up a katana. Can he get another esper or two and move closer to that goal? There's one right now. An ice sword he picks up as well. 2 espers away now for Tyrannix.
Google finding Earth Floor 4 underneath the spider room in Sky Castle. And she's going to go ahead and go see what's at the bottom of the stairs. And unsurprisingly, her white mage is on the ground again.
Yeah, as much HP as that red mage has, Excalibur fine now for Tyrannix. And a pro cape, the rich get richer now for Tyrannix. So, I'm surprised that she didn't move that white.
At this point, I think the white mage is just there to absorb hits and conserve the red mages. There is our crown. We have not seen Astos yet.
Elfland Castle is, I believe, at the bottom of the volcano, I have in my notes. So that's an option. This option was taken before by Falconic in his showcase matchup against Czar. He ended up getting like an Immute Gauntlet when he did this.
And I think that the caves that Poogle was digging through terminated in a Cardia dead end.
Dead end.
So to answer the question, chat, the stack overflow glitch in the Castle of Ordeals, where if you went through too many pillars, you could soft lock. That has been fixed by the development team. They more or less just adjusted the code that the game was using to decide what your last entrances were to push out the last entrance that you did. Not the last, but the first entrance that you did in the stack. And so the stack cannot overflow at this point. If it gets close to overflowing, it just bumps entrances off until it's good again.
Poogle has headed to Gaia, the original Gaia town she found Lefin. No help whatsoever. She's exploring a little bit more that Tyrannix has not seen now. Using that chime, and she enters the Mirage Tower. And she finds a marsh cave.
Now, Poogle has not, I think, seen the top level of Marsh Cave. We know it doesn't have anything of value, but...
another dead end. Rainbow.
Yeah, but their chests at this dead end. Kind of dead end. It doesn't have anything nice, though, so it's actually not a very good dead end. She may opt to look at these linked chests, though, because she has not seen... Well, never mind.
Yeah, she is. There you go. She's going back now.
Normally these chests on this floor are useless, but because she hasn't been to the top half of Marsh Cave, now she's thinking about it.
Tyrannix preparing. He knows he's close on espers. Preparing now for his dive. He knows where the Temple of Fiends is. Alternate final boss. We do not have to run through the Temple of Fiends Revisited. You go right in. It could be multiple different alternate final end enemies here. It's going to be fun. 2 Warmechs is potentially one of them. We are playing on 500% possible enemy stats. He knows this. He's preparing for it. He's taking out some zombie dragons.
Yeah, and I think that's the main advantage of that black belt is even with the ridiculous stats the enemies have, you can get that black belt strong enough to just one punch even the final bosses. Like, Tyrannex's biggest concern, I think, is going to be if those bosses are just insane in ways that we can't even imagine. We're talking high evade, high absorb, high HP.
They like very devastating skills. Maybe Cure 4 in there, whatever. And hope I didn't curse anybody. Ooh, Canary Castle.
Oh, there we go. Here's Corneria Castle. Poogle has not rescued the princess yet, but she does find the herb.
Okay, key item, find. Inch by inch, Poogle getting back into this a little bit right now. Tyrannex opening the door, potentially. And if there's a final boss that is going to be difficult to deal with, we might have a race on our hands, Walt.
We might. It's one of those things. He is not stopping at level 32. He may just be going ahead and getting that 42 black belt, getting as much security as he can in terms of offense. We know where fast is, and he's got the levels to take advantage of that fast. All right, so he's going to go ahead and stop at level 32. He may have been grinding to just make sure he's got enough spell charges to finish this.
Once again, we'd like to thank Randomania for hosting this morning. We did our 4th week of Swiss matches reveal pairings. Narastra getting up early in the morning with myself, Wout. Certainly a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having us. And we are working on, from what another little birdie told me, for a match tonight already here on Randomania, and it's going to be a good one. So stay tuned, Final Fantasy Randomizer and Randomania fan.
Absolutely. So Poogle, exploring what I believe is untouched territory, finding the top floor of Ice Cave, and going to go ahead and dive a little bit. Tyrannex running into these Wizen Red Sahags, but at this point, yeah, they are not a threat. Most of them are running away, and the rest are going down to a few swings.
Level 32 black belt in the first slot right now. Some enemies are fearing some punches.
So the smart ones. It looks like Tyrannix is actually in the same place Poogle is.
Yeah.
Probably going to see a high five here in a second.
Interesting that Tyrannix continues to dive. I thought maybe he might move a little bit closer to Temple if he's revisited. But if he finds some sort of fiend, he's going to be there. He's going to go jump right in and take out that fiend to get the rest of the espers. Unless it's maybe Warmech. Whoa, if you find Tiamat and the required Warmech here, do you turn around or do you give it a go?
I've got a level 32 black belt. I'm willing to at least give Warmech a shot. That at least, if nothing else, because that lets me scout for a potential boss fight at the end of the game. Like, I know those 2 Warmechs are out there. If I can't handle one Warmech with my current party, I know I need to go level some more.
Potentially find another endgame weapon. Look for evasion tactics, the ruse spell. Make sure you've got that and spell charges of that as well. Good insider knowledge from Walt this morning here on Randomania, and scouting information. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely. So, the vampire, not lasting very long, but the rod right behind him, so we're going to keep needing to dig this dungeon out.
Oh, they're shuffled. Sky 4F, the malign Sky 4F. Teleporters are shuffled. Lots of bad enemies on here. Poogle's nemesis, wizard vampires, man-cats, medusas, sentries, guards, and they have spells. Oh! Everything is headhunting for Poogle's white mage at this point. Speaking of headhunting, the Spectre's giving Tyrannix the business a little bit here. More guards.
I didn't see what they threw out. And Poogle has had enough.
I should get out of there.
Tyrannix is going to keep going, but I'm not sure he's going to enjoy that that teleporter floor much better. Google finding Melmond. I don't recall seeing that on Tyrannix's side.
Melmond has been found. No, I do not have that in my notes. Well,
yeah, the wall spell available at 5th level, as well as Bane. That's not 2 spells I would be upset to see.
Tyrannix digging for the teleporter, gets an air encounter, finds the old teleporter. Is he leaving?
Would you stick around?
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah. Tyrannix goes the other way now. Again, he avoids the sentries and the guards. Remember, fans, this is 500%. Potential 500% hitting. Absorb. HP. We haven't seen anything too horrific, really, mummies and everything, but Tyrannix has already lost on the teleporter shuffle. Minding my own business, just kind of strumming along here.
Yeah, Tyrannix getting some really good runs in here with that half encounter rate. Google finding the Castle of Ordeals, and deciding she does not want to deal with any mazes right now. I imagine she's trying to find some quick checks.
Tyrannix quickly disposes of a wizard vampire, continues to mind his own business. Here, nothing to see here. Sky 4F teleporter maze.
Yeah, there are search patterns you can use with the teleporter shuffle, but it is definitely a situation. I'm starting to wonder if maybe he missed one that was in a corridor somewhere, taking a turn too tight.
I have done that. That can hide in a corridor, and I think I wandered around this thing for too long. Let's put it that way. He finds the original one again and goes backwards. He finds everything he needs. Now he's got the sentry. Now he's going to run from the sentry, attempt to run, and he gets away.
Well, and I understand why Tyrannix is putting up with this at this point. He's dug out a lot of locations. He knows there aren't very many places the fiends can still be hiding. And any fiend is going to put him over the line. So he is going to dig the... Was it straight up? I think it was straight up from where the teleporter was.
Tyrannix has found Kraken. He forgoes looking for espers in the left and the right chest. He's making a beeline directly to the Fiend of the Water.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. He knows that there's only a handful of places those fiends can still be. He just has to make it through these Sea Shrine enemies. This has been a very interesting seed for Magic. I don't think we ever did. We have seen Elfland.
We have not.
And I doubt we are unless Poogle
we have not seen
digs it
Elfland to
out.
my knowledge, no. We only have, don't we have like only essentially level 1 and 2 Magic? I mean, we've got...
Yeah, we've got level 1 and 2
yeah.
Magic, and I don't even know if they've bothered to go back and pick up 5 and 6.
Kraken 1 now against Tyrannix. He's already hit the black belt once, didn't hit him too hard. Tempers and invisibility cloaks are off, but 8 hits, 1,000 and change damage, takes down Kraken. Tyrannix lights his water orb. That's 2 orbs, and I believe that's all the espers.
Yeah, no, he is good to go. He just needs to go to the Temple of Fiends.
Speaking of the Temple of Fiends, Rainbow Poogle's about to find her version of the Temple of Fiends. Just a little bit behind on espers right now.
I think wasn't the Temple of the Temple of Fiends I think was at Stardust Cave, so
I believe Poogle's there right now. I think
Titan's Tunnel. I thought she was at Titan's West.
Oh, okay, yeah, that might be. It looks like Tyrannix is gonna do a little bit of shopping. Maybe some level 6 spells and some heal potions.
Well, Life 2 is at level 6, although he won't really need it, but he may just be thinking if he does have to keep diving to find the experience he needs, if it does turn out that we're dealing with a really, really rude Temple of Fiends boss.
Yeah, we never saw Tiamat, we never saw the Bridge of Destiny, so we didn't get a chance to take a look at and potentially scout Warmech like you said you would do, Wout, and I certainly would consider as well. Yeah.
And we also have to keep in mind, another possibility here is Kraken 2, Carry 2 for that pair.
The first entrance into Earth Cave. And Tyrannix is in the area. He's going to go ahead and he's found the entrance going to lead the Temple of Fiends. I think he might have just been checking that out for potentially Elfland when he's found the Q block.
Yeah. Falconic in chat making the point, Tyrannix may have forgotten that he doesn't have to do all Revisited. So he might be in for a pleasant surprise when he discovers that he doesn't have to fight through 5 floors or plus.
Cure 3 helmet.
He's going to take that.
Yeah. 1 hour, or we'll call it 1 hour, 14 minutes, and a 500% enemy stats seed. 16 Esper Shard Hunt. We have our first entrant into the Temple of Fiends Revisited. Doesn't have to go through the whole thing, and its alternate final boss. It is Tyrannix. Let's find out who the alternate final boss is.
He who is about to, we who are about to die salute you. Tyrannix opting to go ahead and throw gear onto his master.
The master down to the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Tyrannix knows what his strategy for this is, and he is taking full account of it.
Carry 2 and Tiamat 2, we call them Bimmy and Jimmy. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, this can either go real smooth or it can go real bad wrong.
Carry 2 with nuclear right out the gate puts a huge dent in Tyrannix. Inferno from Tiamat 2 knocks down the red wizard. The white wizard is on one knee, but a fast and a temper have gotten off, and only 441 damage from the master.
Over 14 hits. That is a stout carry too. And she takes
26?
another hit.
26 damage from the tempered and fasted master now. Fire 3 from Tiamat 2 lays into Tyrannix.
That white wizard is on life support right now. So, as we were saying, these fiends can be a problem.
16 hits from the master takes out Carry 2.
Tiamat 2 not showing too much yet, but except a very high evade and absorb it looked like. That did not look like a lot of hits.
Heal 3 preemptive healing from Tyrannix. Pugel has found Lich. She's going to take on the Earth Fiend. 12 hits, 681 damage down. Carry 2, Tiamat 2, Bimmy and Jimmy. Tyrannix, congratulations, Jack. Get out your GGs here on Randomania. Finishing in first place with an official SRL time. 1 hour, 16 minutes, 38 seconds.
You know, Will, you'd be a great commentator if you just showed a little more passion.
I don't know what you're talking about. Good run. Whoa, that's a 500% seed. Hour 16 minutes. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and a very good demonstration of why we have dialed down the XP gain a little bit in the current tournament. The black belt. The black belt can do a lot of good if you can get him high enough level.
We're going to get Tyrannix in here to chit-chat with us about his match this morning. Great match. Hour 16 minutes. Very good. Very well played. He's going to go ahead and take a quick break real quick, and then he'll join me and Wout here in the broadcast booth.
All right. Meanwhile, Pugel is going to continue digging around in that Titan's Tunnel East location. So, I don't actually know if we checked these 6 chests over here on the right. I can't remember if Tyrannix went over that way or if he just started diving down.
I believe he just kept going. I think you're correct.
So yeah, we're just going to see Pugel take out this or not.
Pugel don't like wizard vampires.
And it looks like the wizard vampires are fairly beefy this seed. We didn't see it as much on Tyrannix's side because, again, he had that black belt above level 30. And Pugel's going to reset out of that disappointing treasure trove. So
She knows now where Temple of Fiends is. She knows where some Espers are. Potential battle plan.
Yeah, speaking of knowing where Espers are, GG Tyranix.
Hey, thank you.
Tyranix, it's Will. Congratulations. 1 hour, 16 minutes on a 500% shenanigans seed? Very impressive. What are your thoughts on the game this morning?
It was a fun one. Nothing was too bad. I kind of got trolled in the early stages, but I kind of knew with White Mage and Black Belt Force that I could just kind of go try Mage and hopefully find like a really easy trap tile, which I did with the zombie dragons. And I did find Temple of Fiends, and I was like, well, if it's one of the easier ones, I can probably do this at 32. And if that fight didn't work out, I was going to go back into Ordeals and probably get up to 42.
Both you and Rainbow Poogle had very interesting encounters with mummies and whiz mummies in the waterfall. You both got down to your White Mage. You were both had to traverse probably the last half to walk out your TNT, and you both made it out of there. It was quite interesting to watch both of you try to get out, and then you both made it.
Yeah, one correction. Poogle got down to her Red Mage, although it was still a very close thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. She did have her Red Mage. I had a question for Tyranix, but I forgot it, so give me 1 second.
All right, well, while Will's trying to remember, Tyranix, was this a mixed idea for you and Poogle? Poogle finally finds Elfland, and look at that, level 3 nuke.
Yeah.
Was this whole thing a mixed idea of you and Poogle's, or did one of you in particular come up with this terrible, terrible thing?
I don't know. It was kind of both of us. We were just in a Discord room and kind of were talking about what we wanted to do. I think we kind of decided that we wanted to go like 7 out of 10 on the shenanigans. We didn't do. I mean, we put War Mech required, but I guess it wasn't required because it was a shard hunt, so we didn't have to kill all the fiends. So it ended up not being as bad as we had thought. But
that was my question, Tyranix. Had you ran into the Bridge of Destiny and Tiamat and the potential required War Mech and not Kraken, would you have gone in to that War Mech fight and took him on?
Probably, because I was pretty deep into that one at that point. Because that was kind of like it was the rod was in the vampire chest and then kept going into it. And I didn't use a house before I dug in there, so I only had 1 warp charge. So I couldn't get out very easily. That was the one thing that I thought was going to screw me, but then I saw the Kraken floor and I just knew that, I was strong enough to take it.
So Falconic in chat has a question for you, Tyranix. How did you feel about that 4th floor sky shuffle?
Oh, I didn't even know that it was shuffled until at first I thought I made a mistake and like in between fights lost track of how many that I had gone, because I usually go 2 right and then 2 down is what I usually do. And I thought that I got mixed up and and then I don't know. Then I was like, oh crap, this is shuffled. So I probably spent a good, 3 or 4 minutes just going up and down, moving 1 over until I figured out what it was.
And that was 2 up.
Yeah, it was just 2 up. How many shard hunts have you played, Tyranix?
That's my first.
I thought so. I didn't think, but you've played entrance shuffle and floor shuffle before.
Yeah. I've done those before. But I think it was a chaos rush. But yeah, I haven't done many of these.
So, Will, I just realized something. You know what Poogle's probably doing? She's probably trying to find that Force War Mech fight.
That would not surprise me, Walt.
It is kind of her modus.
I may or may not have done that in practice yesterday.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. We were kind of hoping to see that forced War Mech fight from you, Tyranix. But so, what do you think of Shard Hunt?
I kind of like it. I mean, maybe I'm old school. I think I kind of like the killing the 4 fiends, lighting the 4 orbs, and doing it. But I mean, with the entrance level, that can get really pretty insane. So like shard hunts is like a nice way, and it gives you some incentive to kill the fiends, and because I think you get 2 shards when you kill a fiend, so it's a decently nice.
2 for Lich
mix
and
between-
Carry, 4 for Tiamat and Kraken.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was 2 for all.
Update on our off-stream runner, DD Gamings. DD Gamings has completed the seed, finishing in 2nd place with an official SR time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 16 seconds. So we weren't able to track DD Gaming, so we certainly apologize for that. So it looks like he was right behind you, Tyrannex.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty. Yeah, he only finished like 4 minutes behind me, and I think that's the first one he's ever done, because he was like, when he jumped in the room, he's like, I don't know what I'm getting into. So that's really good. I kind of knew that I had the levels to get it done. 500%. You know, you could have got really trolled by something. I think a lot of people like to be in the 42 range with a black belt, just so, you know, they can truck through whatever they find.
How did you feel when you got nuclear right off the bat? Did that concern you at all, or did you still feel confident?
I didn't really care, because I did kind of have because it's not like Temple of Fiends Revisited where, you know, I spent 10 minutes getting down to that place. So, I mean, if I got, you know, wrecked a couple times, I was just going to go level more. But it turned out not to be that bad. That's probably of the alternate bosses, that's probably the easiest one.
Okay. DD Gamings has joined us in the chat room. GG's DD Gamings, very well done. DD Gamings, I see you over there. This was Tyrannex's first shard hunt. Have you had a chance to play this option from FinalFantasyRandomizer.com in your gaming?
While we're waiting on a response, Poogle has at least dug out her 3 Espers from Mirage Tower.
He's in chat, but I don't think he's in the commentary room.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things
Okay.
with stream delay. So, you know, we have to wait for him to hear the answer and then type a response. Yeah, and Falconic extending a GG to y'all for doing the blind 500%.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine, like, if it wasn't a shard hunt and we had to do the Force War mech and we ran into like a 400 or 500% war mech, you know, that could have been a heck of a lot more trolly. But I think with shard hunt and, you know, not having to go through all the gatekeepers again, it doesn't make it too rough, it felt like. Now, if we had ran into like the double war mech final, I think it is, 2 war mechs for the final boss, that's one of the alternate ones, that could have got real trolly real fast. But, you know, I felt good knowing that I had like a pretty decent grind spot if I needed to get, you know, another 10 levels. I didn't end up, did Poogle ever go to the other fork in Sea Shrine? Because I kind of just popped in there and saw it kept going. And it was
the
Sky
other
Castle.
fork, yeah, the other fork led to Sky Castle, and then I think Earth 4, and then a dead end.
Okay, so that did
She
screw me
did,
over.
however, just discover that the princess had the Mazmoon.
Princess, yes. Princess had the Mazmoon. And she's got
I'll
the
pull
Mystic
DD
Key.
in here right now. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, DD, GG.
Hey, thanks.
So, what party did you wind up rolling with? We didn't have you on stream, so I guess just kind of give us some idea of how you progressed through the seed.
Excuse me?
What party did you wind up going with for this seed? We know the Black Belt and White Mage were forced, but what were the other 2 characters you went with?
Yeah, I went with Fighter and Red Mage. My usual party. Fighter, Black Belt, Red Mage, White Mage.
Alright. And did you wind up going with the Black Belt to just get him really high level, or did you do something a little bit different?
Nah, since I as I said, I have no idea what options were turned on, how the sliders were placed, or anything. So, but I figured pretty soon that the experience. Well, we gained a lot of experience from pretty much every fight. So I ended up grinding the fight at the end of a waterfall cave against the mummies. I did it like 6 or 7 times, and I think I got to level 25 there.
DD Gaming's it's Will. GG's very well done. I'll tell you the same thing I told Tyrannex. A 500%, it's a 16 Esper shard hunt, but 500% done in an hour and 20 minutes, that's a really good time. So congratulations to you.
Well, thanks a lot. Well, as I said, this is not my first shard hunt, so I practiced it quite a bit earlier this week or even this month. But as I say, I usually turn on the extra shards on, so sometimes I end up having to find like 26. But this is fun because I feel like it makes the key items not really needed.
Rainbow Poogle has filled up her Esper count. She's making a beeline towards the Temple of Fiends Revisited now. Got the correct entrance. She's got the Masmoon. And she's going to take on the ultimate final boss and try to finish up this seed. Whoa, you want?
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I just read in the chat Masmoon from Sarah, and I just feel bad.
One thing I don't think you knew, but we did on this is we had scaling 10% experience for every key item you got.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like a way to make the key items somewhat worth it.
Okay,
And,
yeah, I had no idea.
You know, of course, like some crap can be stuck behind like the rod or, you know, something like that.
Right off the bat, a nuclear from Carry 2 into Poogle takes out her Black Wizard. She lost a nuke shot there.
Ouch.
Yeah, now the bright side for Poogle is we know that Tiamat 2 is a fairly fragile opponent without a lot. The only problem is that Carry 2 is far less beastly than she looked. I guess we just were misreading. I was just reading how much damage Tyrannix's Black Belt was putting out.
I believe Tyrannix's Black Belt was hitting for like 36 damage for one hit. If I saw it correctly, it went by really fast. But Rainbow Poogle makes very, very quick work of the ultimate final boss. She's done 1 hour, 31 minutes, 4 seconds for an official SRL time. GG's Rainbow Poogle.
Yeah, that Fade and Nuke, I guess, were both in Elfland. I didn't quite catch where her level 4 pickups in Elfland, but that was a thing.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
both
I never
in
found Elfland Town.
Elfland, I think, was at Onrak.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, I never really got up there.
Well, I never found any of the 4 fiends.
I found 2 of them. Which ones did I kill? Earth and Sea. Yeah, Earth and Sea was the 2 I got.
Yes.
Hey, Poogle, GG, and how's the throat feeling? Yeah, Poogle was originally supposed to join me on the call this morning, but she woke up feeling a little bit under the weather, so she just opted to race instead.
Poogle, GG's, I would like to tell you the same thing that I told Tyrannex and DD Gaming's. 500% seed, done in an hour and a half. I think it's really good. I'd probably still be wandering around lost like Minochi time. You mentioned, Poogle, in the SRL chat something about you felt you did something wrong. Tell us about that, please.
I found freaking Elfland is so late. Oh my gosh. I found Elfland maybe 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, Tyrannex, you did not find Elfland, is that correct?
No, I didn't find it at all.
DD Gamings, did you find Elfland?
I found Elfland, and I think, yeah, I think it was like one of the 5 last places I managed to find.
We've discussed this before in previous exhibitions with the entrance shuffle and floor shuffle certainly as well, that Elfland becomes paramount with the level 3 and 4 magics, especially if magic aren't shuffled. And finding Elfland is even more important now than it even is in the Swiss tournament at this point in time. And finding the Temple of Fiends and getting in there and finding out whether or not it's behind some sort of a block is also of paramount importance. Poogle, tell us about, if you don't mind, we talked about it a little bit with Tyrannex, the progressive item scaling, 10% for each item. Did you take that into account as you started to gather items and gain more experience?
Ish.
A little bit, okay. Because
I
the two items that were found early on in the marsh cave by you were the tail and the bridge. So that gave you another, I know, a couple of double of 10%. So that certainly helped you in the early game.
I'm just upset that I got level 3 magic so late. That would have helped immensely, like, everywhere.
Yeah, you really mowed down those two final bosses really fast.
Yeah, those were surprisingly easy.
Oh well, I almost died there.
Yeah,
I
well,
thought-
you. go
My
ahead.
mistake was focusing on carry first. I went all out on carry, and after almost dying, I noticed that Tiamat had like what 400 HP.
Something like that. I mean, when in doubt, nuke it out.
When in doubt, nuke it out. I like it. Okay, looks like we're going to go ahead and wrap up the stream here pretty quick. Whoa, did you have any questions for Rainbow tonight? This morning? Excuse me?
No, I mean it's one of those things. The main question I asked is how she's how she's feeling, and she answered that for me. So, no, y'all ran a clean race. That was very entertaining. Y'all are masochists, so there's that. But otherwise, I think I'm good.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Final thoughts from tonight. Tyrannex, any final thoughts on this exhibition race?
It was a fun one. It's pretty. I had a plan going in, and then I kind of stuck to it. Felt pretty good about it overall. Some things could have gone better, but these are actually quite fun.
DD Gamings, any final thoughts on the race this?
Oh yeah, shuffled entrance is the best thing ever.
I can't agree with you more. Rainbow Pook played many of these. I know you really like the shard hunt. Is this your favorite mode?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Okay.
My favorite mode's Monster Hunt, but
Okay. Any final thoughts on the match this morning?
not really.
My tag team partner, Wout. Pretty good exhibition here. Hour 16 minutes. I'm impressed. 500% seed.
Yeah, no, this has been a fun little exhibition. We have some really exciting matches coming up in the tournament, including the one that y'all can now see on screen tonight is officially going to be Tristal versus Edge Figaro on Randomania at 6:30 Eastern. And while y'all were talking, I went ahead and put into the commentate that one because I'm a dirty cheater.
DD Gaming's Poogle. Tyrannex, our winner today. For all of them, Norace, our tracker this morning, Melee Wizard. Thank you very much, Randomania, for our bracket, for our Swiss match reveal, and certainly our exhibition shard hunt this morning. For Wout, my name is Will Cleosis. Do not forget to join us tonight in the Randomania family of network, 6:30 Eastern Time. A battle of 2-1s, and it's going to be a match. Wout already signed up for it. Tristal MTG versus Edge Figaro. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon, and thank you from the Final Fantasy Randomizer community.